They really rock it in Boston and Pittsburgh, PA.
On the 18th of March 2017, the rock and roll musician Chuck Berry was found dead at his home in St. Charles, Missouri. Chuck Berry was quite possibly one of the most, or even the most influential musician for the genre of rock and roll and its offshoots of punk, metal, modern pop, alternative, indie, progressive, surf, and many more. Chuck Berry was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1926 to a middle-class African-American family. He started learning the guitar in his teens with a break of a few years from 1944 to 1947 when he served a sentence in a detention center for armed robbery and grand theft auto. Inside jail, he even formed a singing quartet that was allowed to perform outside the detention center because the guards enjoyed listening to it so much. Once out of prison, he went headfirst into his passion for music, forming several bands before going to Chicago, where he met the famous musician Muddy Waters, who helped him to get a record with the record company Chess. With the guidance of Chess Records, he rebranded the old country tune Ida Red under the name Maybellene, which became one of his staple best hits, selling over 1 million copies and reaching #1 on Billboard's and magazine Record and Blues chart. A year later, in 1956, his song Roll Over Beethoven reached 29th place on Billboard's Top 100 chart. In 1958, Chuck Berry penned perhaps his best-known song. Johnny B Goode was a semi-autobiographical song about a country boy who became rich from his amazing guitar playing. And true to the self-fulfilling prophetical tone of the lyrics of the song, a true rock and roll sensation, landing at #2 on the US Billboard's Hot R&B sides, 8th on the US Billboard's Hot 100, and 11th on the US Cashbox Top 100. Songs like Johnny B Goode, Maybellene, Roll Over Beethoven, and rock and roll music were hugely influential for their time, being important to the specific development of rhythm and blues as essential parts of the rock and roll genre. The reason many people of today still know the song Johnny B Goode is because it's featured in Back to the Future, where Marty McFly plays the song at the Under the Sea disco to an audience of 50s teenagers who are totally unprepared for the sound they hear. The lyrics were also aimed at teenagers and young people who, for the first time, were actually drawn to the new genre in very large amounts. An equally impressive feat was the appeal to both the traditional black audience of rock and roll and its predecessors, but also to large numbers of affluent whites, which was easier said than done in the Jim Crow era of America. As well as this, he was one of the first to successfully implement guitar solos into his songs, which, as we all know today, became a staple of rock and roll music. He also introduced the iconic duck walk, and characteristics moves also became characteristic for rock and roll in the future. The legacy of Chuck Berry was thus that Bob Dylan said of him that he was the Shakespeare of rock and roll. The music of today has a lot to thank Chuck Berry for, and I hope future generations will remember him and his contribution. Thank you very much for watching.
Sweet little 16. Sweet little 16.